We may soon find out, if we haven't already, what a post-$50 silver world looks like. I'll explain in this video as we explore. $50 silver. I honestly still cannot believe that we came very close to hitting it just in the last trading day. But nonetheless, here we are now with some pullbacks in the silver market. As I record this video right now, it is only up slightly, some gains, but it is still below $49 an ounce. But by the time you see this video, well, anything can happen. We saw that in the last trading day, and as volatility is abound. But I think it is a good question to ask as to what will the market look like after silver reaches that nominal $50 record high. And by the way, point of reference here, silver technically never got to $50 before in 1980 and 2011. The high for silver nominally was $49.95. I want to thank Summit Metals for sponsoring the video as we get into this. Next time you have a need to buy or sell, experience the great customer service that Summit Metals provides by clicking on the link in the description below. And next time you are shopping around. So silver, indeed a metal that is certainly on fire today in the last week and really the last month and last year. The peak at 71% increase since the beginning of the year. Now, there was an interview that was done with David Morgan with Investing News Network, who is a publisher of the Morgan Report, explained the significance of silver at $50 an ounce, calling it a crossing the Rubicon moment for the precious metal. So, the question is what's going to happen? Well, some fundamentals that we're seeing here as a background of some of this is what the Silver Institute is reporting, and even the most conservative CPM group is saying that the supply, the squeeze on the supply is strengthening. In other words, if we're not in deficit now, we're going to be there very soon. Now, demand grew by 4% year over year in 2024 to 680.5 million ounces. While growth is expected to be flat in 2025, industrial demand is projected to represent 59% of total silver demand for the year. The solar sector is expected to project to consume 195.7 million ounces of silver this year in 2025. So there's a lot of different things that are happening. And we also know that as of the October 7th, the iShares Silver Trust, the biggest silver ETF, is up more than 60% year to date as investors flock to safe haven assets. Mine production of silver has lagged behind demand for years now. And Metals Focus predicts that the silver market is on track for one of the largest supply deficits on record, coming in at a projected 187.6 million ounces for 2025. Now, we'll see if those numbers bear out to be the case, but everyone agrees that supply is tight industrially, and it's getting tighter for physical bullion as well. I talked about Silver Eagles selling for higher premiums, and whenever you go to sell them, you are getting higher premiums for them because they are in demand. People are starting to buy again, and not just Silver Eagles, other types of silver as well. So that's pretty interesting to see buying pick up again. That's part of what I think is going to really bolster this rally here. Now, what happens if silver does break that $50 number? Well, psychologically, silver's never gotten over $50 and really stayed there, and it hasn't in 50 years, according to David Morgan. He believes that it's an accomplishable feat that will not only have a profound effect on the psychology of silver investors, which is very important, I agree with him on that, but also on the automated algorithm systems in today's silver futures trade. The result could be a blue sky territory for the silver price. Now, I'm not willing to go that far, but I do think that it'll be in a new era, in a new area, as predicted by my prediction video, my forecast video, that I think we're going to end the year at $51. So once we get to that number, well, I think that it will open up. But I think that we got to stay above that $50 mark for quite a while before that happens. In terms of investor psychology, Morgan sees two sides to the silver coin. Once $50 silver arrives, bulls who will think that silver's next stop is the moon, and bears who will fret that silver is about to crash as it has done historically. So where's the in-between? And that's, kind of my job is to try to help as many people as I can that want to know what is a likely scenario and what's the top price. And no one who can pick that ahead of time, but I do think the psychology will be favorable to silver. Independent precious metal analyst Ted Butler would agree with Morgan's market assessment. Butler told INN in an October interview that wasn't expecting to see silver make a run at US $50 so quickly, noting that its pace has left him concerned about the rally's sustainability. Now, Ted Butler has passed away, so I'm not sure how this October interview could have happened, unless there's another Ted Butler out there. I don't know. But however, I do think that we will eventually break through $50. I'm not sure if it's going to be exactly in this cycle, in the near term, but at the end of this year, there might be some sort of high-level consolidation, as Morgan calls it, or some kind of healthy correction. But ultimately, it will break through, and I agree with that. $50 is the point where the mainstream media coverage will really kick in. This will bring about the public participation phase for the cycle of silver and generalists buying in. And I think that is true. That's going to lead to the psychological bull run above $50. I think more people may get in there. And when we saw silver reach that number in 2011, it didn't last long though, but we did see, it didn't get to $50 in 2011, but very, very close to it. And there was major media covering it at the time, I remember. So we could see more demand for silver pile up on the institutional demand that's already starting to build up right now. On the technical side, Butler sees signs of a $50 breakthrough on the horizon based on the fact that the silver market has entered backwardation, which we talked about. The futures price is trending below the spot physical price. This could lead to a major demand for physical silver, with investors perhaps even deciding to take delivery of their SLV holdings. A run on physical silver already is in a deficit and could trigger more of a dramatic price spikes. I think it would be much longer and much greater gaps in backwardization in order to take physical delivery of the SLV. It's not easy to do and can be very difficult to make happen, but it is a possibility if it widens or is sustained for any length of time. Now, what can make this $50 more sustainable in the long run? It would need to pull back and consolidate around a strong base of support if silver is to buck the historical trend and make a more sustained move above that $50 mark. And we're going to need to see it higher with more authority this time. Structurally, the fundamentals are in place to support higher silver price, especially given rising industrial demand in China, particularly for high-tech facilities and solar panels and strong investment demand in India. Much of that, by the way, is recession-resistant or recession-proof. Notably, India is becoming a hotspot for silver ETFs ever since Securities and Exchange Board approved the products in late 2021. Reuters reports that returns from silver-backed ETFs in India has surpassed those of gold. A very important market in India. We haven't talked about that in a while, but it is something crucial given their population centers there in India. And there's a major source of new demand for silver, big driver that's pricing the cycle. And with ongoing geopolitical conflicts in different regions of the world are not only benefiting silver's precious metal status, but also its industrial side as a critical metal. And by the way, we've not heard whether or not it's going to be added to the list here in the United States, but it could. That's going to bode very well, I think, for precious metals. So we'll see here how that plays out in general and for silver in particular. One of the obvious downside risks to higher silver price is, of course, higher costs for industrial end users and consumers. Solar panels, as an example, the silver price has basically doubled the past 18 months, which makes this technology more expensive to make and could result in changes from manufacturers. But I don't think they're going to make that many changes, honestly, even though it's gone up, because 20 grams per panel, that's very small cost overall, considering what's involved in making a solar panel. So we'll see here. Now, when will it happen? It can happen at any moment at this point in time. Silver's price could get up there, It could happen. It could already be happening right now as I record. Not as I record, but by the time you see this video, we could already see it go up. But what we're going to see now is we need to see it sustain above that mark for quite some time. And where it could go from there, I don't know. But I think we will see sustained above $50 an ounce. And I think that it would obviously create a headroom of about $20 more, because adjusted for all-time highs, when we count 2011, it would have to be $72 or so. So I think that's what we're looking at here. I think that is a new target. We can wipe away 1980s all-time high adjusted for inflation, which is over $200, and we should look to $72, $73 silver from there. But $20 is a lot to play with between now and when it gets there. I think it would be better if we stayed above $50 an ounce and started to solidify support at that level, $51, $52, and in that range into next year. If we can hold on to that into next year for a sustained amount of time, then I think we're in for a continued increase and climb up. A steady incline to $72 will be something to look out for in the coming years, and I think it may take years. There's a lot of resistance in many different ways for silver moving, so we'll see how that plays out. But let me know what your thoughts are on what a $50 silver world would look like in the comment section down below. Do you think it's going to go to the limit, or do you think it's going to crash after this? It reached $50 an ounce, or something in between? And what does it look like for you? Hope you found this video informative, insightful, and educational. Would like to extend a multitude of gratitude to you all for taking the time to watch, and encourage you to please rate, share, comment, and subscribe.